everyone, welcome to the channel. It's good to be with you again. It's a lovely sunny day. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. And I'm echoing in my background. Right, so I'm just going to give it a few minutes for you to join me. Excuse any background noise. I've got children getting ready for bed, and I also have my eldest son in the room with me. He's busy sorting out my pencils into family colors. So we are carrying on in Tales from the Forest Kingdom by Hanna Karlzon, and I thought that it would be really great to do some of the background, just to bring in a bit more color and just get a feel for what's going on here. And then we'll take it from there. So I've got Inktense pencils, which I'm going to use for the background, and yeah, I'm going to layer it up. So I've got my palette board out, and what I want is to create a centerpiece that is almost white or very light, and then getting darker towards the edges. So I'm going to use Inktense Pencil Charcoal Grey 2100 and Ionian Green 1320. And I'm going to have the Ionian Green going from white into very fade, building it up, and then I'll darken the edges with the Charcoal Grey and lay it over accordingly. And then along here I'm going to use a lime green, so that it reflects some of that lightness, and then I'll have it scattered a bit more throughout the grass, so it creates almost patches. And then yeah, that should be it. So let's have a go and see how this pans out. Okay, so I'm going to be using a biggish brush, and then I'm going to be going down to slightly smaller brushes. So I have a really big brush, number 10, I have a number 2 and a number 3, and then we'll see how I need to change as we go. Right, so it's most likely going to bleed through. I am expecting a bit of bleed through, but it can't be helped. So if we think of it coming along here, so once, yeah, we're gonna just have to go very lightly. So I'm using a lot more water, and I've actually found it more effective to kind of try create a bit of a wet on wet here. And the size 10 holds quite a lot of water, so this is going to be really helpful. Even if I have a very light coat and then it just gets a bit darker from there, that's also fine with me. So it actually might be easier to blend it out this way than to go from white. hope that you have had a very good weekend. We had a really hot weekend. It was actually really lovely. There's a heat wave going on at the moment, so I'm not complaining about the heat at all. And then last week we were actually quite busy. We were at the beach about 3 times. We're out with friends quite a bit. And then on Saturday we went to the beach again. But then today we've just stayed at home, which I think has been a much needed respite. So as much as we like hanging out with our friends, we do enjoy being at home. I don't want to zoom you in too much because I'm worried that you won't see the full extent of what I'm trying to do, and also I don't want to forget to move the book. So I find with the Inktense you do have to move quite quickly before it dries. So in these smaller gaps I'm probably going to need to change my paintbrush down to a smaller paintbrush. And then I'm using water to try and blend it out so it keeps this lightish area going for us. Okay, so now I'm going to start picking up a bit more pigment. I decided I didn't want to do this in Polychromos pencils because it would really just take forever to color, and I just don't have the patience for it. So I thought it's okay, we will do Inktense background, and then the rest of the elements can be done with Polychromos. It felt more viable. Now I will build the color up. What I first need to do is put a layer down, let it dry, and then go over it again. And I find by treating it like paints and using a paintbrush, I get a much smoother background than if I took the pencil and rubbed the pencil onto the paper and then activated it. I think for backgrounds, using a paintbrush and a palette is a bit more effective. All right, now we go to the other side. I do want to try and create a very vibrant background. So this is going to take a few layers. Hi Dawn, how are you? Did you have a good weekend? How have you been keeping? So one of the Facebook groups, coloring Facebook groups I'm part of, they had a question on the feed, and they were asking the question, are you an extrovert or an introvert? So I replied on the post that I am an introvert through and through, and I was actually quite surprised to see that when I last checked, quite a few people were actually commenting that they are introverts. So I thought that would be a fun question to ask. I'm glad you're well. All right, so here is a bit dry, so I can come back. Now, again, light going into medium, going to dark. So I'm actually going to try, I'm going to go to a smaller brush, a number 3, and I'm going to try and build up my dark and then try and create a gradient towards light. So we leave this side and we come here. So with a smaller brush, it's easier to try and keep this a bit tidy. I will most likely go over this with the edges with gel pen or a acrylic pen, paint pen. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. fortunately with Inktense you don't actually need to use a lot of color, water. It spreads quite well even if you have minimal water, and it's the reduced amount of water that will prevent the bleed through, that and also letting it dry. Okay. I did toy with the idea of creating clouds, but I don't feel very confident with my clouds. They either look too cartoony or too messy, so I thought I'll just play it safe and create just more of a gradient. Alright, so let's come in here with a bigger brush. Okay, so now we're going to go quite dark again on the other side. So I'm just going to swap my protective layer, and you can see there is a bit of bleed through, but it's just on the other side, there's not too much. It's just the way it works, really. I mean, it's just, I don't think you can always prevent bleed through unless you were to copy your picture onto, I think it's cold pressed watercolor. If you do cold pressed watercolor paper, then you can do a lot of layers, and I don't think it bleeds through. But I find with a double page spread like this, it would probably be difficult to copy it onto paper, because I wouldn't want to create any disruption in the actual image. So, and I also really like coloring in my books. So I try and see how can I make the bleed through work and just cover it up. Or I might adopt the same colors for the background and adjust my color palette. I still haven't decided what to do with the knobs of his hands and feet. So here, this side, it's already dried up, so we can build up the color little bit by little bit. Okay, so it's very, very light. I suppose if you wanted to leave it very light, you could. I don't think it would look bad. Instead of it being a grey overcast day, it could be a light green overcast day if you wanted it to be. But I want to build up this a whole lot more, so I'm going to finish this section, and then I'm going to go to the other side and put in some charcoal grey, and then I'm going to layer over that charcoal grey the same green and see how it looks. I wasn't able to finish up in colouring as many of the elements as I had hoped to have finished by now. Life's just been getting in the way. I've had quite a lot to deal with lately. Stuff that I wish I could talk about, but I don't feel is best to talk about on YouTube. So I've been talking about it with trusted friends and family. But it has been a bit rough. So being able to sit and actually paint, I actually find the painting quite soothing. Fortunately, I had a call with a good friend yesterday to be able to just process some of the stuff that's been happening with her and just get a bit more perspective. So that's always helpful. And then I've been immersing myself in fiction books. I like historical fiction, so I'm busy reading a story fictional story based on the life of Catherine of Aragon. And what I didn't know was that she actually married Henry VIII's older brother. And then he, as far as I understand from the book and what I've read in the book, he actually passed away from a sickness called the sweat. So I actually need to go and Google what this is so I can better understand it. So yeah, I like reading things that I don't know about. So now I'm going to deepen this up. So I want this to be quite dark. So there you can see with the charcoal grey, it actually makes it really beautifully dark. And that's the color of the green I envisioned for the edges. The thing with going dark, you have to go dark gradually, otherwise if you go too dark you can't take it away. You have to adjust your picture. So I'm also mixing my color because I'm going in with a bit of the grey and then I'm going over it with a bit of the green. And then also bearing in mind, as it cools down, as it dries, it will also change. It will go a bit lighter. amazing how many bits you can easily forget. I forgot all these little sections down here. And then I changed brushes for this section. Okay, so now I go on to the other side and I'm just going to do the same thing. But I need a bit more of the Ionian Green, so I'll just put some more down. And then I'm going to mix some of the charcoal grey in with the Ionian Green so I get that lovely dark colour. And as you can see, it's creating quite a smooth blend. Except for the parts where my paintbrush has picked up a streak or a clump of the Inktense pencil and then streaks it. But apart from that, you can see it really does create a very smooth gradient. Now, the nice thing to remember, and something I'm trying to work on remembering, is that my mushroom isn't actually casting a shadow on the background. So I can have that gradient going through regardless of what's in front or behind, because my background is behind, it's not underneath the mushroom. And I don't really have anything creating too much shadows, so now I needed to create quite a dark background or this sort of a color in order to offset all the other colors going on in the page. Otherwise, I felt that it would be easy to lose my leaves into the background, and I really didn't want to lose my leaves. So now this is just pure Ionian Green coming off here, and I'm just going to keep layering it up. again, I'm just making sure I'm layering this up gently so that it blends into each other as best as I can. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, and unfortunately my pencil has picked up little excess from the rubbing out. So if I show you these little bits here, it's sometimes gotten caught inside the brush, so that's what's caused these streaks, but there's not much I can do about it, so we'll just make it work. So I have seen quite a few coloring channels featuring Lulu Mayo's tarot coloring book, and I was wondering what your thoughts were on the book. Do you like it? If you do like it, what is it about the book that you really enjoy? It's not something that catches my fancy, but I am interested to actually know why people find that sort of coloring book interesting and gravitate towards it. Okay, so I'm going to do another layer again. And I do find, even though it's a bit messy, the creating a central point where it's light and then going darker, it really does give an eye-catchingness to the page, and that's really what I'm going for. Hi Penny, how are you? I'm well today, and how are you doing? It's great to have you join. Did you have a good weekend? So here on this side, I'm just picking up that Ionian Green and just applying it straight in. I haven't yet decided what color to color these mushrooms. I'm glad you're well, Penny. and that you had a chilled weekend. We were at the beach on Saturday, and then Sunday was relaxed. I think, if I remember rightly, hubby kept the kids busy so I could try and do a bit more colouring, because I hadn't done much colouring at all last week. And to be honest, this month I haven't done very well as far as colouring goes, because I just am struggling to really get into it, really. I'll pick up the books, I'll look at it, pick up my pencils, and the heart is willing, and then it just goes meh. So I'm not really sure what to do, except just maybe let it have its expression, and then hopefully with time it will fix itself. What do you do when you guys go through times where you want to color but you just can't seem to get to it? So do you have any tips or tricks that I could maybe use to overcome this? Oh, so you like Lulu Mayo's whimsical style on the more adult genre. That's cool. She does have a very fun and whimsical style to her. I'm not sure if she's my cup of tea though, but I do really enjoy seeing what other people colour in Lulu Mayo's books, as they always look so happy and easy to colour. But when I go to the shops and I see them, I pick them up, I look at them and I go, nah, so I put it all back. I think it was Colouring with Dan. He did a fantastic page in some of Lulu Mayo's books. I mean, I do like what he does in her books. He's always got all these beautiful colours, vibrant colours, and he just seems to colour them in such a lovely, free way. And what about, I think it's Jane F. Hawk, is it Hankin? She's got a very interesting style, similar to Clara Markova in some ways, but in other ways completely different. I think it's Jane F. Hankin, and I think her books you can only buy from her website, if I've got my information correct. Right, I think I'm pretty much done on this side of the page. I don't want to overdo it. I haven't yet got the eye for this yet to tell whether it's enough or it still needs more. So I think I'm going to leave that there. Yeah, you get some books where you put them in the basket and you look at them and you think, oh, they're so pretty, and then it just goes into a wish list. So I've decided I have a wish list of the books that I'm thinking of buying, and then I leave it there until some time has passed before I actually go and buy it, because I'm still umming and ahhing over whether I want it or not. I think I did that with Kirby Rosanna's Worlds Within Worlds. It must have been in my wish list for a good year before I eventually decided I was going to go ahead and buy it. Did you finish all the pencils? Well done. So my eldest son is in the room here with me, and he's wanting to play with the Black Widow pencils, but we had to arrange them into a case. So he spent the last almost hour sorting it out, and now he's finally ready to color his page, and he's going to color a page out of Worlds Within Worlds. So he picked one, and I've copied it onto paper for him, but unfortunately, you know, he's not going to get the full page because Kirby Rosanna's books, as you know, are square, and the paper I've got is rectangular. So it's a little bit cut off, but he doesn't seem to mind. Bless you. And the nice thing with Kirby's books, they have a lot of lines, so they show you where to put the darks and where to put the lights, so you don't even need to worry about it. You just go where they're dark, you can, and follow his marks, you'll be able to create your shadows and your highlights. I am toying with the idea of getting Kirby Rosanna's Alien Worlds and Mythic Worlds, because all three of my boys had, when I showed them those coloring books, they were very excited and thought it was wonderful. And I said to them, oh, but don't you find them creepy? Because, you know, it's got, some of them do, well, they creep me out a little bit. And all three of them go, no, Mommy, they don't creep us out. They look so cool. So I thought it might be worthwhile to get them. But again, they go in my Amazon list and they stay there until I eventually get round to buying them. Or I see them on a good price and then I'll decide, okay, I'm prepared to pay that price, and then I'll get it then. I'm actually really liking this background. I'm glad I didn't go too many colors and just took the grey, the charcoal grey, to darken the green, and then I've gone and done a gradient with the Ionian Green, and I think it's actually working out really well, and it's very, very effective. So if you are looking for a nice quick color combo, there we go. You can easily use this technique in one of your pages. So I got the idea for this background from Shell's coloring journey, and also from My Colorful Country Life. I've been watching their pages and really looking and seeing what is it about their coloring that just really captures people's attention. And I noticed with My Colorful Country Life, she's got, and the same with Shell's coloring journey, they both have very striking color tones on all their elements, but also their backgrounds really work with their page to draw the person into the page. So I've tried to pick it out and analyze them, and that's how I came up with this idea, and I thought, actually, I want to try it and see, can I create a striking picture using some of what I see in their pictures. Oh, I'm so glad your grandson loves the Kirby books, Penny. Which books did you get for him? It is nice to share a hobby with family. I think it's so good for anyone, really, to sit down and do something creative, regardless of, you know, technique or anything like that, just for the simple pleasure of just creating. Oh, he's got excellent taste. They really are great books, Worlds Within Worlds and Fragile Worlds. They're just really easy to color, minus all the scary faces. Although it did get me thinking about nature the one day. I've been watching other people's versions of Alien World, and then I got thinking about some of the nature stuff I've seen in books with my middle son, who's really, he likes nature and that sort of thing, and especially marine animals and dinosaurs. So I think it was a year or two ago, we took out this one educational book on deep sea creatures and all sorts of creatures, really. And the amount of scary fish that and marine creatures that are out there are just insane. So you get, like, the deeper down you go in the ocean, it's like the creepier the animals get. So I'm thinking of things like the anglerfish, and then you also get these worm-like fish as well. You've got these weird looking mouths, and I promise you they look something out of one of Kirby Rosanna's Alien Worlds or Mythic Worlds, those sharp fangs and all of that. Alright, so I'm going to actually get my white Inktense pencil out now, and I'm going to try and smoothen the center part out, because it's not too bad, but it's slightly bothering me. So I'm going to use an antique white, which is number 2300. And again, I'm just rubbing it on my palette board, and then I'm going to use my paintbrush. And just see if I can work this out a bit more. I suppose I could even take white acrylic paint and just really dilute it, which actually might work a bit better. Let me get my white acrylic paint. Okay, so using a bit of white acrylic paint, and I'm going to dilute it with quite a bit of water, because I want it to be more watery than yeah, I don't want it to be acrylic paint. I want it to be more of like a watercolor. Okay, so something like that. I'm going to leave that now, and I'm going to move on to my other colors. And I'm hoping this is going to work. Just rinse my brush off. It sounds like your grandkids have excellent taste. Oh dear, let me just see if I can get the picture quality back for you. Let me know if the picture quality is okay, because on my phone it looks fine, but on my YouTube stream it looks blurry. So let me know if you're having the same issue, otherwise I'll just carry on. Okay, it is a tad fuzzy. All right, so I'm not quite sure what to do, so let me see if I just bring my hand up. Is that better? Sorry, did you have to see my hand? There. I think it just every now and then gets itself a bit odd. Even when I do some of my other filming, it's almost like it's not focusing very well. Alright, I hope that works. Not really sure what's going on. I might have to call my hubby to come and help. He's more tech savvy than I am. Because it's still fuzzy there. Very, very strange. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if I can work out what's causing it to be fuzzy. Alright, is that better? So this is lime green. Now what I'm going to do is do a bit of a base color here, and I might add some pencil work just to add a bit more texture, but we'll see how it goes. So I don't really need a whole lot, I just want some. So what I did to fix the picture on my side is I just went to the settings and I put it onto 720 instead of auto. And that seems to have fixed the picture quality here on my laptop. Hopefully it's fixed on yours. Okay, so here okay, so now I want to try some spring green. And then I want to try a light olive. Oh, fabulous. I'm glad it worked for you as well. Okay, so this is a light olive. Which I actually think is better to use than the spring green. So I'm worried the spring green is too close to the color of this leaf here. So I'm going to have to try and just modify this as I go. So I might mix the spring green and the olive green into each other. So it was another Facebook group I'm in for coloring, where I saw a few people talking about the Felissimo colored pencil subscription, which I think it's Colorfully Optimistic. She's almost got the entire set. Now, as far as I understand how the subscription works, is it's from their website. It's about $30 or $40 a month, and it goes for 2 years, and then at the end of the 2 year you have something like 500 pencils in a set, but they send you a set of pencils within their range every month for 2 years. I remember seeing someone say that if you can afford to buy the full set up front, it's probably cheaper than doing the subscription. I like the idea of doing a pencil subscription. I just thought, you know, $30 or $40 a month is quite heavy. I'm not sure I love pencils that much. Oh, okay. Emma Colors 2020 also has them. Fabulous. I do sometimes get the coloring channels a bit muddled up in my mind. So now that we're doing the background, when we're done, I can use a white gel pen and a paint pen and go over all the flowers I'm done and build and just complete them. So I'm trying to use quite a thick amount of olive green in here, because these little nooks and crannies I want quite dark, and then I will be done with them. And I think with the spider webs I'm going to use a white white pen, gel pen, and go over them with a white gel pen. I think it will just stand out a bit better. So again, with the grass, all I'm going to do is create a gradient, and that will work quite well. If you wanted to do blades of grass, you could. And then I might use gel pen for some of these lighter leaves or smaller leaves, just to speed up the process a wee bit. I'm not too worried if I get green on the stones, because I can use it as a feature. Some stones do grow mold, and if I do greys around it, it will work quite well. Oh wow, you have 520 brood funers. That's incredible. I didn't even know they got that big. Is that the square set or the round set? Yeah, the price of the Felissimo, I think, is what just puts me off, really. I don't know if I would do that type of pencil any justice, so I'd almost rather not invest in them. And also because I'm not a pencil collector, even though I do enjoy pencils, it's not something I can see myself doing at this point in time. Oh, the round set. Yeah, they're very nice. I have the round set, but not the 520. I think I've got 180 round brood funers. The only thing that bothers me with the round ones, at least the set I've got, they have all these numbers, and I find I like my pencils to have names. It just helps me remember them better than remembering numbers. I bought the 180 brood funers quite early on in my coloring journey, so that the boys could have a set of pencils, nice pencils, and also I wanted to try out oil pencils, and they are an oil base as far as I understood it. So I did that, and I've got one page in one of my Rita Berman books where I use brood funers, and yeah, they weren't bad actually. I should pull them out and try them again, because I think I might be able to color match and create color combos a little bit more experienced now than what I could back in 2020. So all over here I want to create this quite dark, because I envision this quite far away from the source of light. I'm glad to be doing this background. I think it's going to make a big difference to the overall look and feel of the page. And sometimes it helps to just feel like you've accomplished something. You could probably do this with gouache paint. Excuse me. It could possibly be quicker with gouache paint because you could get the texture and the gradient a little bit quicker than what I'm doing with the water. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you like it. So with the flowers here on the house, I'm still trying to decide whether to do them white or yellow. So my husband reckons I should do them white because they will stand out quite nicely against the building, and I'm still in two minds. So this side of the house here, this part of the garden it's still not, it's not going to get as much shade light as here. So I am trying to build that up so I can try and illustrate it as best as I can. This is where light source still gives me a bit of a headache because I kind of get it and I still kind of don't get it. And it's one of those things where I think to myself, it shouldn't be this difficult. It should click, and I can just feel in my head it's just not ready to click. But I think that goes for quite a lot of things. You know, we try things and we you kind of get a feel for some things at some point, and then when you come back to it at a later stage, a few other things will click, and then with time, eventually the penny drops. And so I'm still in some ways waiting for the penny to drop when it comes to light source, because just filtering it through from there all the way through out the entire page, it just my brain can't cope with that at this stage. It still gets a little bit of a no, not yet, don't do this to me. So I find, you know, it's baby steps. When it comes to light source, I have to do baby steps. So I'm thinking of doing the ants, a black ant with gel pen, and then I thought of turning these into little ladybugs. I do like the way the is it spring green? Yeah, spring green blends into the lime green. I think that is a really smooth and easy combo. So if you do have the new lime green, it's in the new set that the Derwent, or the new pencils Derwent Inktense released, and they do blend really well. So I need a little bit more lime green. but I don't need too much, and it's just to help me blend this out. Okay, so I'm going to come to the back here and I'm going to build that color up. So I need to find my pencil. Ah, there it is. So I need more light olive. And I'm going to use my bigger brush. And I think what I'm going to do is on these blades of grass, I might actually bring in some gel pen. So I've swapped back down to my smaller brush. And then I need the spring green. Followed by some lime green. So we're slowly getting there, and it won't be too long and this background will be done, which will be really, really great. So again, if you like this color combo, it's something you can do in other pages. And all you really need is light green, spring green, so a lime green, a light olive, a spring green, and then a yellowy green. So just try and find in your Inktense pencils, if you don't have the new 28 pencils in your set, then just see if you've got a lemony kind of green in your set. So maybe have a look, or you could layer up and just use a light yellow, like a lemon yellow, to just lighten up your spring green. Okay, so we'll let that bit dry. I'm going to move back down to here using my spring green and my light olive. Hi Carly, thank you. I'm glad you like the picture. How are you doing? So here I want the lime green because I want it quite bright. All along here. I do love it when you put backgrounds in. It really does help to feel like you actually accomplished something. Oh, I'm sorry you're fighting a cold. I hope you feel better soon. It's nothing worse than having a cold when it's summer. Unless you are in the southern hemisphere, in which case then I feel for you because it's winter. I am well, thank you for asking. Been going through a bit of stuff with family, extended family, but other than that, doing all right. I have an emergency appointment with an orthodontist because I have a wire at the back of my top 4 front teeth, and it just holds them straight. I had braces when I was 17, so this is just remnants of that. Anyway, something's going funny with it, where I think maybe some of the glue on the clasps is coming off. So I'm going to the orthodontist on Thursday afternoon to have it sorted. So it's a good thing in a way, and it's a bit annoying in another way, because it's making eating a little bit tricky. Because if I eat like crisps or anything too hard, I risk affecting the wire even more and just disturbing it. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying, but nothing serious, nothing that can't be fixed. Thanks. I'm sure it will get all sorted. So is it really hot now in California? In California, sorry. Does it get quite hot there? Oh no, I'm sorry it's gloomy. Oh, that's a pity. June and May May and July are, well, especially June and July. I'm like, I don't want the gloom, I don't want the rain. I know the farmers need the rain, so I understand that we need to be considerate of the farmers, but I just want the sunshine. I want rain at night while I'm sleeping, so I can enjoy summer. And also I don't do well without the sun. I get rather, it does affect me. So I'm really sad that you have dreary June in California, and I hope that it goes by quickly and you can have sunshine again. Oh good, I'm glad you're going to have a sunny weekend. I hope it goes sunny for you. Do you live quite close to the beach? Oh, lovely. We live about 30 minutes from the beach. So we spent 3 days last week at the beach, which was so lovely. The 1 and 2 of those days we actually did see seals. And then I found out on Saturday that you don't have to worry about seals, that they won't actually harm you. They kind of just mind their own business, because I actually wasn't sure if it's okay to even be in the same vicinity as a seal, because growing up I didn't have seals around me, so it's just a new creature. So yeah, that was really interesting to find out, and the person who told me, I think, is quite familiar with ocean life and that sort of thing. So I felt like he was an expert on this more than what I am. So, oh wow! So how hot is the heat waves that you get? I mean, to be fair, really hot heat. A heat wave can be quite unbearable. The heat wave we've been having has gotten up to about 26, 27 degrees Celsius, which is hot for the UK, but it hasn't been blisteringly hot. I think the worst part is when you have no wind, so it's really hot without any wind. I think that for me is worst case scenario. I think we are pretty much done with this now. I don't want to faff too much with it. Yeah, humid heat is probably the worst. There's just no escaping it, and if you don't have a breeze, it's just stiflingly hot. So I want to put a little bit more color behind here, just to help this stand out a bit more. Right, I think I'm actually going to stop there. I don't want to overdo it. You know, sometimes it's one thing to do more, and it's another thing to just keep going. I am going to just quickly darken up here though. I think it could do with a bit more just here. So I'm still learning how to tell when Inktense has deepened enough versus when you need to add more layers, because it does fade as it dries. But I mean, if we need to, we can always just come back at a later stage and just add more. I'll flip the pages soon, and you can have a look and we can see if there's been any bleed through. I'm hoping, because I haven't used too much water, there won't be too much bleed through. Oh, I'm so undecided whether to do more. I might come here and just deepen this up. You see, just touch up these darker areas here. I'm happy with this middle part. I think it looks really nice and bright. Carly, that is a brilliant question. I don't know. I honestly don't know what color to do the doors. Do you have a suggestion? I mean, I could do them dark brown, or I could do them red. Especially this one here, I could do it red. But I honestly don't know. I was thinking of doing maybe a blue roof, but even that I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to stop. Oh, cool. I like that red doors mean all this are welcomed. And that is very, very cool. Okay, I'm going to get out my white gel pen now, and I'm going to go over most of these white petals, but I'm also going to grab a small paint, and I've actually got, which might be better, my white acrylic paint. I'm going to paint these edges here. And all this is going to do is just make these white flowers pop. So I'm going to alternate between acrylic paints and my white gel pen. So I want the acrylic paint to go into the white parts of the flower where there's quite a lot, and the gel pen will just look streaky. And then I will do the edges along here where there's more shadow with the gel pen. Hi Shelley, I'm using acrylic paint and a Sakura jelly roll, a white Sakura jelly roll. It all really depends on what you're comfortable with. Some people find they have more control with a paintbrush than they do with the pen, and other people find it the opposite. But I'm using the acrylic paint to really just deepen up the white areas inside the petal. And then I use some water also to thin the acrylic paint down so it spreads quite easily. Oh, I still haven't decided about daisies or sunflowers on the cottage. My hubby reckons I should make them daisies. and I'm still undecided. Because I'm worried that I'm worried the white won't stand out as much as I want it to on against the blue wall. I'm concerned that the wall is maybe a bit too light. So I've done that in the past where I've done white on a very light background and then the white has kind of disappeared. You don't have to use acrylic paint if you are coloring along with me. You can just use a gel pen if you prefer. It will do the same job. Now where I've gone over my petals with Inktense, if I use acrylic paint, it just covers that up a little bit better. And you can go over it multiple times if you need to. And we can also do these white. You can use a gel pen or acrylic paint. I poured out some acrylic paint onto my palette so I could brighten up my background. So I just want to make sure I use some of it up a bit, because I actually put out quite a bit. And also, if you do thick blobs of acrylic paint on, say, on top of your mushrooms, you're also adding a bit of texture. If you do something like that. So I think these bumps on the mushrooms are actually their raised texture. You could even use like a 3D effect on top of these if you wanted to. Oh wow, I did not know. African daisy, that does sound familiar, but I'd forgotten about it. So we could do that. Actually, that would lift the color of these mushrooms up to there. So that could actually work quite well. I'll go have a Google and see what we can do. But I just want to finish this first. Before I actually forget. And then all this paint dries up. But yes, African daisies does ring a bell. Okay, so let's swap to my pen. Now, if you don't mind me turning the book upside down, I can then work on the daisies. Okay, let me have a look at these African daisies quickly. So I'm hopping on to Google. Okay, so we can definitely do that. We're going to create a black center, and then we're going to use yellows into orangey reds into pinks. So we're going to need more of like a sunburst yellow than a cream. What have I got? Yeah, I've got a cream, so I need a brighter yellow. So we need something like a dark chrome yellow into a light cadmium red, and weave that into a pink, so a light purple pink. Again, I'm using polys for this, and then I can use we'll use deep browns, and I'll do these daisies, and then so if we use like a dark sepia, and then I'll use a gel pen to do a bit of character on the center. So I'm going to zoom in. There we go. All right, so using a dark sepia, hey Leslie, how are you? Oh, don't worry. I'm so glad that you were able to come when you did. Even if it's for a few moments, it's so good to chat to you and to have you with us. Which other live streams were you watching? All right, dark chrome yellow. So we don't want too much of it, just a little bit around. These should be quite quick to color. They are quite small, so there's no ways you're going to be able to layer them. Okay, so now we bring in the Light Cadmium Red and we try and blend that into each other. This is so weird. Oh, I like this. I'm just trying to make sure I leave the orange. Oh, cool. That's a lot of live streams. Okay, and then now we take the pink. So I want to try the deep red. See if I can get a bit more contrast between the pink and the red. Sorry, my hand is getting in the way. I'll try and keep it a bit more out of your way so you can see. And then the pink, so this is light purple pink. You might be able to use even a lighter pink than this, but the gradient is very much yellow to pink. Yellow, orange, red, pink. So it will blend quite seamlessly. Yeah, we went on our holiday. It was lovely. It was busy because we had things, so it was morning devotions, and then the moms went and caught up on some homeschool stuff while the kids played sports. So that was the Tuesday morning, and then we had food together. The kids watched a movie. Then the Wednesday we had a baking competition, so I did some baking and had to and the funniest thing, the unit I had rented didn't come with an oven, so it came with one of those 2-plate stove cookers, and I had to it didn't work very well for us, so I had to keep running to some of our friends' home units and say, oh, please, can I cook my food here? And then I found out the hall had a kitchen, so I would go and use the hall where I could to cook my food and bake my things for the baking competition. By Thursday morning, we were all so exhausted. We skipped, I excused us from morning devotions, and then we went to see the house where Downton Abbey was filmed. And that was just a feast of art for the eyes. I mean, it was absolutely stunning. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm going back to the yellow now, just to blend this out. And so that was the whole day. Then we're chatting to people. Friday we went home. So yeah, it was really good. It was really busy. I'm glad we went. I think we all had a good time. We met some new people. The kids, we hardly saw them. They were just playing so much and hanging out with each other, and they all seemed to get on really well. There was no incidents, and they stayed up so late. So Friday we got home a bit late, 4:30. But the traffic wasn't as bad as when we went on our holiday, which, I mean, we were stuck in traffic for about 2 hours. Okay, so I'm going to pull out a gel pen now, which will be a bright glittery gel pen, just because we can. And that's not going to work because it's too dark. So let's try a neon gel pen. If this doesn't work, I'll get a paint pen. Okay, I'm going to get my paint pens. Yes, I did need a vacation from my vacation. I ended up sleeping so much on the weekend after we got back, just because I was really so tired. And I really take my hat off to some of the moms, because I'm like, I just don't know how they can keep themselves so busy and actually cope. But you know, I understand different things for different people. And when our coordinator mentioned, you know, maybe they need to do a few more things next year, I was like, please no. I can only do so much. So I tried to reassure her that what she had planned was absolutely fantastic. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and we thought it was a good balance. I wish I could share my laptop screen with you, so I could show you the pictures from the Downton Abbey house, because I mean, there were frescoes everywhere. You walk in and you look up, and it was like we had stepped into the Sistine Chapel. It was just phenomenal. I mean, they had paintings there from the Renaissance and Reformation period, and Chatsworth House, which is the name of the house, it's been in the family generations dating back, I think it's probably been 3 or 4 generations, so dating back to the time of the Renaissance and the Reformation, especially the Renaissance period. So there's so much artwork, there's so much history in there, and I just really take my hat off to the people who've kept the house in their family and have opened it up for us to be able to go in and actually see just the extent of wealth. I mean, the grounds are just acres and acres of land. It's unreal. There was a room called the Oak Room, which is a carved wood. Everywhere is just carved wood, and then the centerpiece was a table and chairs. It was my husband's favorite room because of all the mahogany, well, all the oak wood. And apparently, if I've got the story correct, that particular room was going on auction, and the owners of the house found out about it, and I think they bought the oak room for about $200, and then they moved it to Chatsworth House, and it was just breathtaking. I didn't take photos of it because it was quite a dark room, but I... Bye, Carly. Thanks for joining. It was great to have you. Have a good week. So yeah, it was really an incredible experience to just go in and see this house. And we saw a shield called the Shield of Hercules. We saw artwork featuring Greek mythology. We saw statues. We saw just about all sorts you could imagine, sculptures, paintings, clothing, Japanese vases, which at that time were very, very rare, because I think Japan was only just starting to open itself back up to the world after about 200 years of isolation. And if I understand my history correctly, it was during that 200 years of isolation from the rest of the world that Japan actually found their unique artistic style, as far as anime and manga and that sort of thing. So that's why Japanese art is so different to the Western world. And there's a whole lot more to the isolation as well. So yeah, so getting any sort of work out of Japan during that time, or even as Japan was coming out of isolation, it was a rare thing. So yeah, it was really, really cool. So I've got photos of a lot of stuff, and then they had some rooms where it was these more modern pieces, and so you had old and new all simultaneously. So how is your puppy, Leslie? I love the photo you put on your channel. It's just really, really cute. Right, I think that is about it for today. I've got still, as you can see, a whole lot of mushrooms to catch up on, but at least a lot of the leaves and the flowers are done. So if I zoom you out a wee bit more, there you go. So if I move my paper, that's what our page looks like. And yeah, I think the background isn't too bad. Not decided yet if it actually needs more work or not, but if you decide that you want to add more work to your background, just keep layering up the colors like I showed you. Oh, Lizzie, I'm glad he's doing well and that your puppy is full of energy. He really, really looks really sweet. So what I'm going to do off camera is carry on working on the mushrooms, and then I'm going to white out all the other flowers that I can, and then when I come back next week, we can hopefully finish up these two flowers, do a bit more of the leaves here, these mushrooms, and finish up the houses. So I'm hoping that would work for us and we can be done. So thank you so much for joining me. I've really appreciated this time, and I appreciate you joining. I hope to see you in one of my other videos, and until next week, Monday, for a live stream, have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you soon. Bye everyone.